Hello everyone, this is Almost Critics. I'm Caitlin Stowe, and this time around I was with 4 people crammed into my Prius in the AMC parking lot right after we'd seen David Gordon Green's Halloween sequel starring Jamie Lee Kurtis, Judy Greer, and Andi Matichak. It's a little bit spoilerific the whole way through, but I did flag the 2 main spoilers down in the description below. The later one is definitely a bigger spoiler than the earlier one, but say if you're not a spoiler person and you like to avoid spoilers, skip them both. Or, of course, you could just go see the movie and then come back and listen to this after you've seen it and be worry-free. So I hope you enjoy, and here's what we thought of Halloween. Let's start by going around and just rating it on whatever system you want before explaining yourself.
I'm going to give it a tentative 6.5 out of 10. Maybe even a 7.
Oh.
Okay. Nathan?
I'll go with a 3.25 out of 5.
I give it 3 jack-o'-lanterns out of 4.5 jack-o'-lanterns.
I'm going to rate it based on the original Halloween, just like watching that, and I think that it did something really interesting near the end, so I'm going to give it a 7.
Out of 10.
Just a 7.
Just a 7 out of whatever.
Solid.
Okay.
I'm feeling the 7.
Yeah, it's a good number.
I'm going to call it, this is subject to change, but for now,
These are actually higher ratings than I thought.
unless y'all convince me otherwise, I'm putting it in some issues.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It has those.
Yeah,
Yeah,
without a doubt.
All right. Now, that is the only systematic implementation I'm putting on you all.
Mm-hmm.
Go.
Who wants to start?
I can start, since it's
Yeah.
my thing. I think that it had really good moments. I think it was scary. I was tense while she was going around the house trying to find him, and that was satisfyingly scary.
Wait, is this spoiler territory?
Yeah,
or what?
sure, whatever.
Okay.
I put in the notes when spoilers happen in
Nice.
case people want to skip them or whatever.
We can edit it.
Yeah, we can put
Move it
put
all
things
over
in
the
different
place.
orders and all that stuff.
Spoiler, Michael kills just about everybody. He comes in
But not
contact
the
with him.
women.
Some of the women.
Yeah, you killed a couple women.
And my issue,
Yeah.
speaking of not killing people, there was a moment in the film where he is pure evil. Michael Myers is pure evil.
Yeah, he should have killed Allison.
There was a moment where he goes into the house and he kills this person, and then
And he
you hear
doesn't kill the baby!
No, you hear a baby crying.
Yeah.
And something that the filmmakers could have done, they missed an opportunity there. They didn't necessarily need to show him killing or not killing the baby, but you could have made it a little more ambiguous. Like maybe the camera pans off and the baby stops crying and then he walks away, but it's like I sound like a sick bastard.
No,
saying
no,
this,
I'm
but
with you.
He should
I'm
have killed the
with you.
baby. He
I'm
should
with
have killed the baby. Something should have happened there. So
No, I think
That
that
was one of my-
ruined
one
that
of
that
my
messed
issues.
with their whole point. I think that scene threw off what they were seeming like they were trying to say, which was he is not interesting. He is not complex. He is not worth studying. He is worth killing.
Mm-hmm.
And he is not the interesting part. She is the interesting part. And focusing on him, the guy who was obsessed with him ended up being evil. So the people who were focused on him and who want to keep him alive to study him are terrible because he's not interesting. And having him not kill the baby added a level of intrigue that I think muddled their point.
sure, no, that makes sense. But again,
Yeah.
I think they could have done something a little different with that scene.
Yeah. No, he should have killed the baby. I'm all for him killing the baby. I'm disappointed that he didn't kill the baby.
That's interesting. I actually disagree. I think that scene was very chilling in how, like, nonchalant he killed the woman just to get the knife. He got into that house just to get the knife and then noticed the baby. You thought he was going to kill the baby, and then he just walks off like he doesn't even... It's nothing to him.
Like it was innocent or something like that?
No, more like it didn't mean anything. It
Just
wasn't
didn't
worth
register.
killing.
Which is
Like,
chilling in a way, because
yeah.
maybe there
Yeah.
is something human in there, and maybe it does kind of skew that.
Yeah, I don't know.
But again, finding the humanity in Michael Myers is totally pointless. Like
Yeah.
that's why the 2 interviewers
Oh yeah.
How
We're
they're
useless.
there's something here. There's something moral about this man. We need to find it out. It's like, no.
And she's like, get out.
I hope you die. And
Yeah,
you did.
and they did.
That's great.
Yeah.
So,
I think that it played too much on the nostalgia.
Yeah.
Definitely.
There are too many. I'm not saying it shouldn't have done it at all. I loved her on the ground then disappearing.
Yeah,
that was
that
perfect.
was-
well, yeah,
I think
how they
that's all it
mirror
needed.
how they
That was
mirror certain things from the original. I thought that was kind of cool how they flipped it.
The house
Yeah.
that
How-
she had built was basically kind of like
Exactly,
Yeah.
like the one
Yeah.
from the first one,
Yeah.
and how she hid in the closet, and then she's like, Michael's in the closet this time, and how she falls out the window, and then she
Yeah.
disappears. I liked all of those mirror images from the original. I thought that was kind of cool how they did that.
I did too. I wish they hadn't tried to stick with the same vibe. I think it's outdated, and it meant this film is already unrealistic to its time. Did anyone notice how old all those people were named? They had names like Sally and Vicky and Karen in this, like all of them today, and Dave.
In 2018.
Yeah,
Dave.
it was
Yeah.
that threw me, and it took me out. And like the woman who's walking around in her house coat and hair curlers, and I'm just like, who wrote this? Like, definitely
Yeah.
not someone who's actually like. I feel like it was too nostalgic to the point that I found it unbelievable in a lot of the dialogue and in a lot of things that were sort of campy and fun in the 70s and 80s. There was a way to update it without just trying to make it another 70s film made in 2018.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I think the same could be said about the music. I loved the music in this movie, and I loved how they updated that classic track or whatever. But it didn't fit with this movie at all. I don't think. In my opinion.
I think
I
there
don't
were
know.
a couple times where it did, but it was like not the main theme
Yeah.
that I felt like it was kind of cool. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
But they used a
Yeah.
lot of like audio cues in the old movie. Like it was like,
There's other subtle parts in the score that I thought were really cool. The theme seemed like it was the original theme.
Yeah.
It didn't seem like they had updated it, but I'm pretty sure that they did. Maybe
Yeah, they did. There was like a drum part that
Okay.
kind of sounded.
Yeah.
It seemed like it slowly.
I can't
evolved
talk bad
through
though
the
about
movie.
John Carpenter, so
Yeah.
I
No,
love
I
the
love
score.
the music. There was a great when Allison first sees the dead friend and starts running away, and she's running from house to house in the street. That part really hit me with the music, and I know that he did violin strings on steel guitars, and I was waiting for that because I love that sound, and I think putting that in at that sort of climax was really. I thought the music was timed really nicely. I was waiting for it to be more innovative and more new, and so maybe if I hadn't heard that they'd updated it, it wouldn't have bothered me that I didn't see it as much.
Yeah.
But I thought it was timed nicely and used at appropriate moments.
I thought all the background shots of Michael Myers were very good. Every time you saw him, like, kind of, sort of half
Lurking.
get up.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Lurking, whatever.
I think the one scene where he's going after the kid with all the beer cans, who's like
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
sitting in the yard
With
like,
the
with
with
the
the motion
floodlights?
sensor lights,
with
that
the
was
motion
cool.
sensor
Motion
lights.
sensor
I
lights.
liked
That was
how
nice.
and I think another scene where they set up. There's a lot of like, oh, Michael's here, but he's not there. He's somewhere else.
Yeah.
It's like the shot's making you think that he's there, but he's not. But then he is.
Could be
He's
anyone.
not.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Which is, I guess, reminiscent of the first one. They do a lot of like foreshadowing shots
Mm-hmm.
to get you tensed up.
I don't know. It wasn't bad, but it's gonna fade from my mind really quickly.
It was a classic Halloween film. It was a classic,
it's fine.
you
It's
know,
fun.
October spook fest.
Yeah.
Had just enough gore.
Yeah.
The head
you
squishing scene was good.
Do you think Michael escaped in the end?
That's the
Definitely.
thing. So my
Absolutely.
issue with the ending, I really wanted. It didn't end how I wanted it to. I wanted Laurie Strode to die. Basically, I wanted her to die, Michael to live. The way they did it, where he is incinerated in the basement, and then she drives off with her daughter and granddaughter, and she's been stabbed and thrown out a window, and she's bleeding profusely. Maybe she dies, but I would have enjoyed it if she also died before the credits rolled. I did.
Let me ask you: did you want that to happen simply because it would subvert the tropes, or is there actually like a story reason that you wanted that to happen?
Basically just to kind of put it on its head. Because from the preview, it's like Laurie Strode's a badass. She's shooting guns, so her mission is to kill Michael Myers. It's like, okay, we know that she's probably going to succeed in this, and I wanted that to not happen. I wanted her to die, maybe in front of her daughter and granddaughter, and then Michael Myers is, he just kind of walks away. Like, he killed her. Maybe that was his ultimate goal. He kills her, and then he disappears into the woods. But the way it ended, I'm kind of upset because they know... Well, maybe they don't know because this film doesn't follow the rest of the films. This is strictly from the first one, but...
I think maybe the first two.
I think it was just the first one.
Oh.
Yeah. And they didn't... If they would have stood there and watched him melt into a pile of goo. However, the whole house was on fire, so they couldn't have done that.
It was unsatisfying.
There's a shot from like behind in the basement, and there wasn't anybody standing there.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, oh, did he get out? And maybe it was just foreshadowing for me when the one kid put an explosive in the pumpkin and blew it up. I was like, oh, why don't they just blow him up? Like, they have him in a basement, put some explosives down there and leave, and then blow it up. But it's almost like maybe she wanted him to escape.
Ooh.
Perhaps.
Another plot twist.
Well, because that's the thing, that one of the themes in the film is they survive off of each other. Mike wants to kill her. Or I can't remember the exact dialogue behind it.
Predator prey.
Yeah,
right, the predator prey thing. So that's their main reason of survival is that whole thing. So maybe
And at the end, her granddaughter holding the knife, like she has to be prepared in case he comes back or something like that.
I did enjoy that last shot. I did enjoy her holding that knife at the very end. That was a good touch.
I think what I wanted from this movie was to either not say anything or say something really big, and unfortunately it sat right in the middle. Where it like kind of sort of had these nice feminist themes, but it was like lazy about it. So I'm like, could you just not then? Like, if you're gonna do that, do it all the way, make it a really empowering, like, badass woman hear me roar movie. Or just make it a classic slasher film with no meaning and just for the jumps. But to put it in the middle just made it kind of muddy and awkward. And especially because it kept jumping back and forth between that campy original humor and these very serious moments with Jamie Lee Kurtis, which I think, A, did not do her talents justice as an actress. I wanted more for her to do.
Right.
And B, kept like whiplashing you back and forth between very serious commentary on society and... yay, fun Halloween movie. And it's just, it didn't, it never met properly.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. Like the scene where she goes to the dinner and she's like chugging wine.
Yeah.
And then she breaks down. It's like, this is not bad. This is good.
Yeah.
And then nothing else is really said about her whole...
But then you've got the dad randomly talking about peanut butter on his penis. Like, what?
Right?
Yeah, well,
that, one of the writers of the film is Danny McBride. So I think a lot of that humor came from that man.
I can 100%. Yeah, I saw Danny McBride on there, and I'm
Danny
like...
McBride was a co-writer of this film, so a lot of that
like
childish humor was probably his doing.
That.
However, childish humor, the child being babysat, he was classic.
Oh,
That was
yeah.
great.
I liked him. He was good.
Yeah.
Cutting his
he's good.
toenails.
He was good.
Like, you're talking about weed. Like,
Swearing like a sailor.
Yeah.
He was good.
I
That was a good
I
part.
gotta say, I loved how hokey the doctor was.
Mhm.
I liked it.
There was the
It
scene where
He
like,
was so
he
evil
like
scientist.
glared at her, and
Yeah.
he's like, "You got to keep your eyes open."
It was such.
I'm like, "Oh man."
He had a great line too. It said, "I'm a doctor. Go." What do you say? Go lock your doors.
I'm a
Yeah.
doctor.
I'm a
Lock
doctor,
your doors.
lock your doors.
Yeah, that was my favorite line in the whole movie.
It's like, really? We'll lock your doors because you were a doctor. Sure.
Okay, do we recommend it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, solely for the fact that it's just a fun. I had fun with it. I fist pumped multiple times. That's that's the sign of a good film for me. So yes, I would recommend it.
Yeah. So watch it with a group of friends, get some good food.
Yeah.
Don't take it too seriously.
Right.
Have some fun.
Yes, and it was very fun.
Yeah, it was
Yes.
fun. Right? Any last remarks?
Hopefully they don't do a continuation.
Yes,
Hopefully
yeah,
please.
they will.
No more.
And this one was better than Rob Zombie's things that he did. So I will say that.
Is that much of a bar?
Well,
Did Rob Zombie redo Halloween?
yes. Halloween 1 and 2.
God damn. Okay, thanks guys.
Welcome.
So that was a review of Halloween. If you have questions or comments or have other movies you'd like me to watch and review, you can leave me a comment down below or you can get in touch with me on Twitter. I'm at Caitlin Stowe. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll catch you next time.